they've got to come to ban.video. And I don't like that. It's scary to me.
Well, it says I'm live, but I didn't see a notification on my phone. So, okay. Looks like it's all good. We're going to be playing some more Grand Theft Auto, just fucking around online, listening to some Alex Jones. Now I'm just going to sit back and chill out, let them talk.
Pandemic indoctrination. It needs way more than 456,000 views. It needs to have billions of views. And I guarantee you, if that film got 1 billion views, it'd be game over for the New World Order. If you shared it and told others to share it, and then they shared it, we would win. It's literally up to you. And again, it's not about who gets the credit or who saw it first. I'm just saying, we already, a year and a half ago and a year ago, had Dr. Francis Boyle on and others over the patents, over the funding, how they created the virus, how Fauci to gain a function. But Dr. David Martin does a great job laying it all out in a great, easy to watch film with his expertise in finances. It goes even further than we've gone, and that's why it's so important. The enemy is desperate to suppress communications because it's like sunlight to vampires. It's like holy water to Count Dracula. And so, again, I tell you, band.video. Band.video. That's, you can share via email, via text messages, or word of mouth. You can't share it via most platforms. It's banned. freeworldnews.tv, freeworldnews.tv, freeworldnews.tv. And it's so Pavlovian that those of us that tell the truth, people are scared to expose it. They're scared to share it because you might get banned. You're going to get banned anyways. Big tech, the censorship, it's all going for broke right now. So I ask you, are you going to just sit there idly by and let them win, or are you going to take action? All right, we're out of time for my part of the transmission. Paul Watson is coming up in literally a minute and a half. Separately, we have the InfoWars limited supply flash sale, 50% off on top selling products. Some of these can only go for 3 days, like Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula, limited supply, 50% off. Turbo Force 10-hour clean energy, 50% off. Lung Cleanse, that's for a week, 50% off. Vitamin C with zinc, a huge mega dose, 50% off with limited supply. Vitamin D3 gummies with zinc, or that's with calcium, 50% off. InfoWarsStore.com. I want to thank you all for your support, but most importantly, your prayers and your word of mouth. That is so important. All right, great job, crew. Great job, listeners. Amazing broadcast. Paul Watson takes over now.
Hello, I'm Mike.
It is through our 5 senses that we are kept fascinated and hypnotized by the lies we are told. And the only way to see through this illusion is with our higher senses, which is why fluoridated water is a big problem. Consuming too much fluoride forms phosphate crystals around.
I'm trying to find a video from earlier today,
And he walked on down the hall.
The blue bus is calling us. The blue bus
They're really carrying out
is calling.
the beginning of the planetary depopulation. They really already started it. You're going to see such carnage and death. You already see it very soon. And the media is going to manage it to a certain point, but then say the unvaccinated caused it. Let's put that screen back up there for TV viewers, please. Radio listeners, I'll read it to you. Alex Jones will expose the secrets of Agenda 2050 and beyond. Tune in to this broadcast if you want to live. That's not a joke. Yes, I know we talk about horrifying things, but if you go back to my film Endgame, if you go back to what I said 20 years ago, 25 years ago, what's the most well-known thing we're known for here on air? with hardcore audiences. It's talking about a global virus and a lockdown and forced inoculations with sterilants. Because the UN talked about doing that. I thought they'd only do the sterilant. No, they just said, why just sterilize? Start killing. So it's a cocktail of things it does to you. I've played you all of these top scientists, and the latest one's the head of the medical system at Baylor University. That's all over the state of Texas, very respected, saying every one of these viruses has failed. Every one of these vaccines based on a protein jacket of a virus has failed and has killed the lab animals. You can't do it. And we've done human trials, and he lists the human trials of other vaccines where it killed the children, particularly.
I love you, my brother. I love you. You're better than this. You are.
And then he says in the congressional hearing,
deep inside of yourself and just.
He says, every project failed over the last 50 years, but then Bill Gates picked it back up. And that's what he did. And I told you it's Bill Gates. Gee, we've got all these studies that when you do this, it kills the lab animals. Almost all of them. In some cases, all of them. Blood clots. Let's do it to everybody. Again, this is as open and shut as if I walked over to you with a gallon of gasoline, poured it on you, and lit you on fire. I'm killing you when I do that. Or if I walked up with a butcher knife and I had you tied up and I slit your damn throat, I'd be murdering you. Premeditatedly. Murder one. And we're sitting here. Look, I know Bill Gates and the globalists said they were going to do this. I know they tested a bunch of stuff in other third world countries. I know in some cases they'd kill half a village would die when they give them an inoculation for smallpox or for polio or for tetanus. I mean, sometimes they'd kill half the village would die in like a week. This is on record. All over the world. In Burma and in Nigeria and in Guatemala and in everywhere. Pakistan. And, you know, those villagers aren't rocket scientists, but back when the old doctors would come 50, 60 years ago, they ran up and wanted it because those were nice doctors. But now when Big Pharma comes the last 30, 40 years, they run to the hills. They have to have armies come who get paid in these countries all over the world to hold people in the villages. They'll just show up unannounced with 100 troops, try to circle the village with machine guns and say, you're going to take this. And you see, they've gotten away with that so long around the world. Bill Gates is banned in over 30 countries. He's completely banned in 20-something, and another 30 or so he's partially banned in. But it's kind of average to say 30-plus countries, and it's changing all the time. But it's a lot of them. And when they show up at the villages, the villagers literally attack men with machine guns with clubs because they've seen the death. You don't act like that. You know, Indians aren't just known for starting fights with people for no reason. Why are the Indians so vicious to their own government? Because they saw their family members killed before. So we better get the same common sense they've got, or we're done. It's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. Hell, let's go ahead and play the clip. This should have gotten more attention. It's on Zero Hedge. It's on InfoWars. Watch White House COVID response coordinator says it's time to impose vaccine requirements, and Fauci is looking totally sinister. They've got the head of the CDC up there as well. And here he is announcing from the White House it's time to impose mandates, forced inoculation, declaration of war, violation of the Nuremberg Code, talk about martial law. Imagine if President Trump was on TV saying you got to take shots. Cities would burn, and they should. I'm not calling for violence at this point because they'll use it against us, but I mean, this type of behavior, one person gets injected forcibly and dies, all the globalists go to prison and their houses burn. I mean, that's justice. I'm not saying do that, but they are waging war against us and trying to do it with this authority because they're at a White House lectern. And they're going to try to have the corporations and companies make us do this. This is beyond Nazi Germany already. But I do not want violence, ladies and gentlemen, because they will use that against us and spin it. We have to keep our independent media going. We have to expose it. We have to warn people. We have to get the victims and the survivors on air to tell their story of what happened when they took this poison. And have an endless list of doctors and scientists coming out. Because the globalists did all this because their whole system was collapsing 3 years ago, 2 years ago, the UN admitted their doctors were all turning against the vaccines because they, quote, were hurting people. And so they did this giant fail forward, this giant too big to fail operation. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey Zients with Fauci. Listen to it.
Also working with states to encourage vaccinations through incentives, which have made a difference throughout the vaccination effort. Last week, the president called on states and local governments to use funding they have received, including from the American Rescue Plan, to give $100 to anyone who gets fully vaccinated. Minnesota and New Mexico have already stepped up to answer the president's call. If financial incentives like these help us get more shots in arms, we should use them. But in addition to incentives, it's time to impose some requirements based on the realities of different risks unvaccinated individuals pose versus those who have been vaccinated. Last week, the Department of Veteran Affairs announced it will require doctors and nurses and other healthcare workers who provide medical care to our veterans to get vaccinated. This is in lockstep with many healthcare employers around the country who are requiring vaccinations and will protect our veterans when they get medical care. At the President's direction, the Department of Defense is looking into how and when they will add COVID-19 vaccination.
All right, let's stop right there. Fauci looks like he's up in front of a firing squad while this is happening because he knows this is totally illegal. It's experimental injection, and they're going for it. And they know that the public now knows it's the vaccines killing people, not the unvaccinated. So, but they're still going ahead with it because they've set the machine in motion, and now they can't stop it. I mean, they've already killed 50, 60, 100 million Americans. Who knows? I mean, they're already walking dead right now.
Hey, everybody. Confused about staying healthy in a crazy COVID culture? Me too. But listen, after all the research, all the conflicting studies, after all the squabbling, there's one thing almost everyone agrees on. It's that immune system health can literally be the difference between life and death. You probably already believe that. I certainly do. So here's the thing. I wanted to get past the craziness and find out which plant-based substances actually have studies that demonstrate some efficacy in immune support. Now, you'll have to sign a waiver, but you can check out what I've discovered at StrongerDefense.com. No cures or treatments there. Instead, little-known but shocking immune system research and a breakthrough immune support product based on that research called Immune 10X. And the best part? You can go to the Stronger Defense website right now and claim your own supply of Immune 10X without paying anything today. Crazy, right? Learn more about this unusual limited-time offer at StrongerDefense.com. That's StrongerDefense.com.
There's one central fact of criminal psychology that criminologists all agree on, and that it's criminals are extremely pathological. Even more than the general public. They do the same things over and over again. And criminals like to commit the same types of crimes over and over again. Well, guess what? It was Anthony Fauci and eugenicist globalists that ran the rollout of HIV and the mistreatment of it with AZT and other chemicals that actually killed more people than HIV. And they were the ones involved in viral research of viruses that would actually go attack the T lymphocytes in the body and create autoimmune disorders. The problem for them was the viruses would then break down and would be non-lethal down the road. That's why they need to roll out the COVID-19 and the vaccine, because now they admit the COVID-19 vaccine destroys your immune system, basically giving you the equivalent of HIV. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm coming to you with the most important commercial that I've ever done. All of you know what MyPillow and myself have gone through in the last 5 months in my efforts to bring the truth forward. Well, it's all come down to this. I'm having a cyber symposium on August 10th, 11th, and 12th. This historical event will be live streamed 72 hours straight on my new platform, FrankSpeech.com. You can help by getting everybody you know to go to FrankSpeech.com now. To help support this Cyber Symposium event, I am offering some of the best prices ever on my pillow products, but they're only offered at FrankSpeech.com. Thank you and God bless.
Go to FrankSpeech.com and enter promo code ALEX. or call 800-675-4614 and use promo code ALEX.
I preach about the dangers of cell phones all day long because they're supercomputers controlled by big tech that are spying on us everywhere we go and what we do. But because they have great cameras and great recording systems and great ways to communicate, I still have one because this Trojan horse, this Promethean fire, has a lot of power. But when I'm not using it, I lock it up in a high-quality Faraday cage, a privacy pocket at InfoWarsStore.com. We finally got them back in stock, the highest rated. They fit almost all types of Androids and iPhones at 50% off, $14.95. They sell these babies for $29.95 all day long. We've got a private label with InfoWars on them for $14.95 because I want you to get them and I want you to buy friends and family these systems to educate them about what these, quote, smartphones really are. This is a great way to limit your phone time use. It's a great way to spend more time with your family, and it's a great way to know you're not being tracked by the criminal globalist system. They're 50% off right now at InfoWarsStore.com.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
The answer to 1984 is 1776. You're listening to the Alex Jones Transmission. Thank you for joining us today on this August 3rd, Tuesday broadcast. So, let me just give you my 35,000-foot view on this, and then we can give you some contemporary examples, talk about how to stop it. I don't want to put InfoWars at the center of the chessboard, but that's really where all of you are. We are the InfoWar. We are citizens and humans that love God and justice and want a pro-human future and believe in humanity and believe in God and believe in a human future. But the globalists know that whatever humans can envision, because we're made in the image of God, we're able to build. And they are very jealous and envious of the incredible mind of humanity. And they want to steal it and basically chain it down and confuse it and gaslight it so they can control it as an engine of their power. They don't want the bird to fly. And if you study all of history, you see corrupt regimes that come to power that do just that. But then in the end, they destroy themselves in the process because they are projecting their own hatred of themselves onto the general public. They've decided that it's so ugly and so bad that it's got to be rounded up and exterminated. Because that's their subconscious mind wanting to kill themselves. On the surface, they love themselves, but they definitely hate themselves. So let's talk about it right now. What is Agenda 2050? Well, that's the term I'm using, and you better believe they've got it, and that's what it's called, but I've never seen that document. I've seen Agenda 21, I've seen Agenda 2030, and we're living it. But they don't release their new agenda reports until they're right in the middle of it. So I would imagine they'll release their Agenda 2050 in a 2040. And again, these timelines, these goalposts can be moved back and forth because they're always calibrating, but it's still always the same plan going in the same direction. And so in all of their priests, and it is a religion, transhumanist satanic religion, in all of their admissions and in all their statements, and you see it everywhere now in the Wall Street Journal, looking forward to the end of humanity. And you see it in the New York Times, a world without humans would be wonderful, and families are bad, and the nuclear family's bad, and humans are parasites and must be gotten rid of. And NBC talks to the top bioethics scientist and says we must merge the machine and get rid of carbon-based life forms. Carbon itself is bad. And then you learn, when you read deeper in their literature, their religious text, that they want to overwrite the whole planet and believe all life here is bad. So the supposed guardians of the earth, who get a lot of humans to sign onto their agenda, in this cult, they're in the outer room. They're not in the temple. They're not in the inner sanctum or the tabernacle with its even more holy sinners within it. That's how all these systems work, as concentric rings. The people out on the far out edge really believe we've got to get rid of humans and do all this to save the earth and save the whales and save the butterflies. The globalists talk about once we become God, Ray Kurzweil says, top advisor to Google, once we become God, we'll build 1 trillion worlds. And it won't matter, and we'll be able to recreate butterflies on 1,000 galaxies if we choose to. And they talk about how they'll all upload their consciousness to rockets, to spaceships that then blast off into space, and they'll start competing with each other in the wider universe as gods. Kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2. And that's really what they're telling you when they do all of this. But then you study the people running it. They've just hijacked all the intelligent people, stolen the technology, and they themselves are into pedophilia. They themselves have high suicide rates. Their children do. They're horrible people. Just a low-level example. None of these globalists even give tips to waitresses or anybody, or to a person that gives them a massage, anything. They skip out on bills, you name it, because they don't just dislike people, they hate people. So they're not the type of folks that built this system. They're not the type of folks that have creativity. They're just the type of people that want to control it and run it all and turn us into a commodity where we devalue ourselves to the point where we don't stand up for ourselves so we can be like potter's clay in their hands. And so let's talk about Agenda 2050. Agenda 2050, if you look at all their religious transhumanist texts, which are now official UN law and official corporate governance at the Davos Group, World Economic Forum, they say by the year 2047, there really won't be any humans left. Or if there are, we'll be in museums. They're going to tolerate us like a bug or like a houseplant is the most common megalomaniacal delusion that they put out. And they talk about how then there'll be a singularity and an acceleration, and that then the people that have become gods are going to need to leave the planet, or they might contend with each other and destroy each other. Or a lot of them say, well, they'll end up just being one super being. And so we'll just absorb everyone into one super being and basically make everybody give up their bodies. And you see that in the Illuminati religious piece, Childhood's End, put out in the 1950s by Sir Arthur C. Clarke, who was one of their high priests. So that's where all this comes from. And part of the entrance into it is giving up your humanity and not having children and promising to hurt children. And really what it is a total religion of selfishness. So now that I've talked about their philosophy some, let's talk about what they're planning to do right now. The name of the game is conduct covert war against independence, against health, against sanity, against goodness, because the system they're bringing in can't compete with that. Destroy all islands of sanity, wreck economies, engage in economic, cultural, and biological, radiological war while posing as the saviors. Kill the planet as you absorb it and use it as the energy and the engine for what you're building, because the main mission is kill all life on Earth in a ritual of planetary sacrifice so that the new creature can emerge from the husk of the once beautiful living world. So the main mission is absorb the planet as you kill it, and then blow the planet up when you're done. That's in Clarke's writings. It's in all Asimov's writings. It's in the religious high holy moment will be once humanity's destroyed, fully absorbed, then the planet will be destroyed. That is the high ritual. It will be blown up into a space rubble, into a new asteroid belt. And no competing civilization may be allowed to escape. No ark must be able to get away. They must suppress all technology, dominate it, poison the people, dumb them down in a process to where even the globalists are so sick and so decrepit from 5G, 6G, 8G, all the poisons, that they themselves will have to give up their bodies. They intend, you say, well, how do they not poison themselves while we're poisoned? Well, some of them avoid it and stuff, but the real acolytes don't avoid it. They embrace it in their transhumanist movement and want to merge with it. Because they want to give up their humanity and they want to show their God that they are truly ready to be faithful and to merge with it before it moves on to the next planet. And you want to understand it, it's all a love letter from Satan in Childhood's End. And let's just say Clark, you know Clark, definitely fit in the club. Arthur C. Clarke, OSS, MI6, inventor of the communication satellite, and of course, a major perv. All right, we're going to come back, and I'm going to give you the rest of the story, what it's going to look like, how the controlled collapse is going to look. Now they're coming to murder you and your family slowly. But first, they want to suck your soul. I recently ran an ad where we played a cavalry bugle call in the background, and I made the point that, hey, the cavalry is here. But it's really true. Listeners are incredible, and when we're able to keep these great products in stock, we were able to fund ourselves last year and actually dig ourselves somewhat out of a hole that we'd been in because I expanded so much for the 2020 election. But thanks to you, we're still on air. But now because of the shutdown in production and because of slowdowns with the whole COVID lockdowns and the supply chain, a lot of our best-selling products have not been available for months and months and months. Some for 6 months, some have been discontinued. But the cavalry is here now in our funding because a lot of these products are finally coming back in. Prostagard, Vasobeats, Alpha Power, and of course Body's Ultimate Tumor Formula are all in our top 10 bestsellers. Our second best seller is Body's Ultimate Tumor Formula, 95% humanoids. It is back in stock right now, 50% off at InfoWarsStore.com. So really, you are the cavalry when you order these products at InfoWarsStore.com.
Man, fuck that shit.
The biosecurity state is here. It's an anti-human eugenics operation, training us that humans are dirty, bad, and evil. The corrupt puppet Prime Minister of Canada, who says he admires the communist dictatorship of Xi Jinping and wishes to make Canada sane, has announced that they're buying vaccines for every person in the country all the way out to 2024. And that in 2024, you will again take 2 shots. And he says it'll be whatever Pfizer cooks up and wants to put in your body. This is the Rockefeller Foundation. They developed this whole plan with Bill Gates. They're now implementing it, and now they've announced that U.S. policy is set by the private Rockefeller Foundation. Of course, the Rockefeller Foundation, by the 30s, was the main funder of Adolf, Alois Hitler, and the eugenics at Cold Springs Harbor that trained the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute in Germany. InfoWars will continue to steadfastly fight this. I don't know how long we can. The enemy's coming for us all now. God bless and good luck. I would, again, get right with God right now.
It is through our 5 senses that we are kept fascinated and hypnotized by the lies we are told. And the only way to see through this illusion is with.
Teach us to hate ourselves, teach us to fight with each other, teach us to be idiots, suppress our technology. Let's hit it right now. So, they control the resources. They start cutting them off while posing as a savior, always blaming their opposition. Those that won't take the special injections, those that won't turn their children over for programming, those that still want to have a family, those that still want to own their own property, those that want to be independent, those that want to go to a real church, where the frequency is not Lucifer's channel. All about what you tune your channel to.
I ain't doing this goddamn.
Now, can you handle tuning to that channel? Scares you.
Driving with a partner my ass. Fuck that.
You certainly don't want to be tuned into both channels. That's why to read their own writings and do this, I don't even need to do that. I can just dial into the channel, and and I would advise folks not to dial into Satan's channel. I've done it, and that's how I know what they're up to. But more often than not, I don't dial into it. I just can read their own writings, and I can see more and more they're telling you what they're tuned into. It's that simple. I was at a big grappling championship in Austin a few months ago with Joe Rogan, and I didn't even notice that giant thunderstorms and tornadoes had blown in, and nobody was telling me. And I was inside the big Marriott Hotel, JW Marriott downtown, this giant ballroom, like chandeliers with dudes fighting. under it. It was very, very surreal. And I just felt excitement, felt energy. And I said, what's going on? And I just felt compelled to get up, and I went outside. There was black, purple clouds and green clouds and tornadoes and lightning and like 60-mile-an-hour wind and trees falling down. You couldn't hear it. You couldn't see it down deep under the hotel. Giant hotel, just humongous. But I could feel it and feel the barometer in my mind, my guts, and I went outside and just saw it. Right as it was getting dark at like 8 o'clock at night, just boiling green clouds out of a movie in between the buildings. Just, what the hell? Barely could open the door to go outside. And everybody's dialed into that. Everybody knows, well, that's just the frequency of nature. That's the frequency of our bodies in the third dimension that are picking up on that frequency of just life. You can be in a room, totally blacked out windows. You know when the sun comes up, you feel it, you open your eyes, and if you go check your watch, that's sunrise. You may make yourself go back to sleep. And they want you to divorce yourself from all those feelings and all those instincts God gave you that are a connection to God's creation, that itself is a connection to God. I don't worship the creation.
Hold on, guys.
The creation, though, is a hem of God's garment. And just like the woman reaches out to touch Christ's garment, to touch the sun, to touch the trees, to touch the water, to touch your wife, to touch your husband, to take care of your children, to cook your friends a meal, to have love is to commune with God and is a form of energetic worship that connects you to God. And the more the connection's there, the more it accelerates, and the enemy seeks around the clock to try to stop that. And that's the whole plan. So they want to artificially cut the resources off while they pose as the saviors, and then make things so poisonous and so toxic and remove our immune systems and have all the babies be born by cesarean. And then by the year 2045, they estimate all men will be sterile with the chemicals in the water. This is all official. Until you have to totally give up your physical body, they will tell you to stay alive, and that you'll be uploaded into a synthetic silicon system. And they say that will be the final religious move, is your new body being born again into the Matrix, born again into the Borg, born again into their system. And everything you see out of science fiction, they admit, is the Nebula Awards and others were given by the Illuminati to the futurists they wanted, so that humans would envision this future and accept this future and build this future, because we are master builders. And so the year 2050 is the goal at which no independent human life will be allowed on the planet Earth unless, quote, it is in a zoo or it is in a museum. And so this is a total revolution. And the globalists are smart in a very cold-blooded way. They know that empires rise and fall are based on human systems. They know that human activity always is going to challenge another human, and people don't want to be under somebody's thumb. The only way to conquer humanity is to end humanity. But you've got to give humanity a way out and tell it, oh, you're going to evolve in this way. Give yourself over to control this, and it's more like a sexual operation where you're being raped by the AI for your thoughts, your mind, your genetics, and raped by a system that isn't just going to kill you. Again, it's going to absorb you, but take your free will away. It's going to rape you to death. And so that's all this is a complete takeover. But again, it wants to extract our knowledge first and chronicle us and save us, like you go out and find a butterfly in the field and put it under glass and with alcohol and kill it, and put a pin on it in your wall. It wants us to be part of its collection.
He's been 17 years, and now I got his.
Because it doesn't just want our knowledge, it hates us because we're made the image of the thing that kicked its ass, of the thing which defeated it over and over again. See? And so it's this process, it's this thing that hunts humans, it's this thing that hates humans, it's this thing that wants to kill you. That is Agenda 2050. Compliance with anything the globalists push is death, resistance is life, and victory. We have a special guest coming in studio in the next hour. He's one of the prominent members of the Nation of Islam. Message for the millennials. Bro Rizza Islam. And he's a well-spoken individual, wants to get into eugenics and the targeting of everybody, particularly people of African descent, for extermination, and why he thinks that's the case. And I guess he's super banned everywhere, and so am I. So we're all about having people on that are thought-provoking. So that is coming up in the next hour. Separately, briefly, we have the new sales here, and they're very limited because the supply chains are broken down, as you know. These are great products for your immune system, your body, everything else, and they fund the info war. But because these items have not come back in, some of them for 6-8 months, I've been selling them at full price, but they're going to sell out soon, but I need funds now. So we're just liquidating all these bestsellers. InfoWars limited supply flash sales save 50% off on these top products before they're gone. Today we're glad to announce a brand new limited time flash sale exclusively from InfoWarsStore.com. Many of these top selling products are going to sell out quickly, but we want you to stock up now before the imminent second lockdown takes place. Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula, very limited supply, 50% off for only 3 days. Turbo Force, 50% off, limited supply, only for 3 days. Lung Cleanse, mouth and throat defense. With all the essential oils, 50% off, limited supply. And we can do that for a week. Got a little bit more of that. Vitamin C with zinc. 1,100% of your daily allowance of the vitamin C and a ton of zinc and rose hemp. That's the Linus Pauling formula for your libido, your stamina, your energy, your immune system, number one. 50% off, limited supply. We'll run that for a week. Vitamin D3 gummies, 50% off, limited supply. We're going to run that for maybe a week. So, Body, Turbo Force, Lung Cleanse, Vitamin C and zinc, and Vitamin D3 gummies, 50% off. Survival Shield X2 selling out. The Good Halogen, 40% off. InfoWars Privacy Pouches last week with all 10 free stickers and the big no trespassing sticker, 50% off, $14.95. InfoWarsStore.com. And that's how you fund the operation and get great products you and your family need. InfoWarsStore.com. I would really get that vitamin C and that vitamin D.
You got every ice?
Yeah. Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm coming to you with the most important commercial that
364 fireplace heat without.
And now everybody's done that. People send in their lizard test.
Yeah.
And, it comes back. I mean, it's a fraud.
Yeah, the Germans sent in a cap full of alcohol, and that came back as positive for Corona. See, again, Satan is, he has done a great job, but again, his time is over. And because of that, there is no other tricks he can use. The Bible has told us, the Holy Quran has told us, all the Holy Scriptures have told us whether if a person, regards himself as religious or not, there is something absolutely factual regarding these Scriptures, and it's the same playbook over and over again. They have no other.
Well, let's talk about that now, and then a longer segment's coming up.
Absolutely.
What is a cornered Lucifer, a fallen alien creature that hates us or made in the image of God? What does it do when it's cornered? Because yeah, you're right. The devil's going to lose. He knows he's losing. He sends the beast with wrath because he knows his time is short. We're about to see Satan's temper tantrum.
Yes, definitely. Well, as Zbigniew Brzezinski has stated earlier, he said in earlier times it was easier to control 1 million people than it was to physically kill 1 million people, but now it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than it is to control. And that is exactly what Satan's option is, because he can no longer control the masses of the people, because this is a battle for the hearts and the minds of the people, as we're taught in the Nation of Islam, and as the world is taught, and those who are the righteous. Because of that, they can't control the minds anymore. They can't control the people, so they must kill. That is the only option in order to maintain their system of control.
And they're doing it.
Yes, they are. And that's what everyone has to pay attention to, look up and understand and fight against.
What would you call this time we're living in right now? We're going to break here, but what would you call this time?
This is the war of Armageddon. This is the war of the righteous versus the unrighteous. This is the battle of good and evil, the great battle in the sky. All the scriptures have classified in different ways, but this is the final stand. This is overtime. This is the fourth quarter. I mean, however you want to.
And we know when there's a world war, it's going to be in the sky.
Oh yes, oh yes. It's mainly in the minds of the people spiritually, but then of course it's going to go down from there physically, bombs, guns, etc. It's going to go in every single way. For every mental area, there's a spiritual counterpart as well.
Powerful information. Rizza Islam's our guest.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes...
Which is going back to this...
And going around here, I can't say, well, this white man is killing my people. He's the only devil, when some of my own people are killing each other. And yes, though we're doing it out of ignorance, out of self-hatred that was put in us, it's still something that is being done, and we have to take accountability for it. So there are devils in every culture now because we have all been infected with that hateful system of supremacy.
And now we're being told we're all dirty and have a virus. virus, we're being told we're all, none of us that won't take this shot, we're all the devil now, but really that's the devil saying that.
Absolutely. Of course. I mean, he comes dressed as an angel of light, and so as that devil, they have to come before the people, making it seem as though they care about the people. And my question is, if you care so much about the people, why are you still putting poison in the air? Why are you still putting poison in the food? Why are you still putting poison in the water? Why are you still putting poison specifically in all the inner city communities where black and poor people live that create these pre-existing conditions that then this virus then helps to exacerbate and then helps people to die and kill over? If you truly care about us, why don't you put organic food? Why don't you remove the chemicals from the air? Why don't you remove the chemicals from the water? If you truly care about human beings, that they are damnable liars, and their lies have not been.
Well, that's the thing. The UN, the globalists, Planned Parenthood all say there's too many people, get rid of them, and then, oh, please take this shot. I love you.
Your spectacular aircraft is now ready for you at our nearest airfield.
It's really insane. It's actually insulting now because they believe that we don't understand and that we are too stupid to pay attention.
That was my next question. Even the dumbest person ought to be able to see that it doesn't work and it makes you sick, and the majority of people sick in the hospital took the shot. I mean, that's admitted now.
Yes, the vaccine adverse events reporting system, which most people know nothing about, has been reported to with less than 1% of the actual effects that are happening. There are over 11,000 deaths reported to that system, but that is less than 1% that are reported. So it's really upwards of over 100,000, possibly 200, 300, 400,000 deaths that have been connected to it. Doctors are seeing this. Scientists in the UK, scientists all in the United States. There is a lawsuit happening with over 10,000 medical professionals and over 1,000 lawyers who are currently suing the CDC and the World Health Organization for crimes against humanity. People are seeing this. It is resoundingly being exploded, and whistleblowers are coming out of every major government organization to say this is not working. Families are seeing it. Their families are dying as well.
What do you make of the footage from Spain to Australia to the UK to Canada of police brutally beating men, women, and children, horses running people over? I thought that was horrible back in the 50s and 60s. Happened to black folks. You see this here. The media's like, oh, good. It's good they're doing this. They deserve it. I mean, this is a sick joke.
I'll give you a police escort.
This is what Satan is doing, making it seem as though we are getting rid of the problem. We are controlling the problem, the unvaccinated. These are the sick people. These are useless eaters, is what Satan says. These are those who have to be gotten rid of. This is something that is going to happen in every major city and every minor city, and it is already happening because people are rising up against tyrannical governments and systems. They see what's going on. People aren't protesting because the shots are working. If they were working, then people would be promoting it more. But because these are people who are seeing their families dying, these are people who are nurses, doctors, lawyers, who are seeing what is happening. Once this person gets this shot, they are turning over, killing over, having Bell's palsy, inflammation of the brain, swelling, all these different things. They're seeing it, and they're not being reported on, and they're being made to seem as though they are crazy, when in reality, they are actually speaking the truth.
Well, I've seen the footage out of New York of particularly black people that dared go out the street without masks last year were being beat up and being hit over the head, and then it's white cops beating up black people. If that was another time, and it's wrong, period, white or black, but then it was like, okay, to beat up black people because they weren't wearing masks or weren't supposed to be out. It's just sick.
Yeah, no, it's going back to how it was, but with now a new justification, a new justifiable reason. We are beating them to help you. We're beating these unvaccinated, diseased people. It's eugenics all over again, but with a new label now. Now it's unvaccinated. Rather than, it used to be feeble-minded, now it's you're unvaccinated. You're a disease. You're perpetuating this. You're spreading the new virus strains, when actually the people who are taking the shots, and it has been documentedly found that they are the ones helping to evolve these new strains, and they are spreading.
All confirmed. So you agree with me, because we said this earlier, I'm going to put words in your mouth. They're losing, and I go back to this question then. Every time I see us starting to win, I get nervous. Like, what is the evil side going to do now? They're going to pull something big. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they're going to try. Right now, they're going to try to come after, as they're doing now, the door-to-door now is what they're pushing for. They're first in phase one now, where they're gathering information, where they have someone come to the door, knock on the door, a person next to them has a checklist where they are checking each thing, how many people in the house, have you been vaccinated, unvaccinated, et cetera, do you need more information, et cetera. The next phase is for them to bring the mobile units, which is what Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, stated. They have an entire budget for that, to bring these mobile units to the...
And as you said, what's happening in England and Australia is a year ahead.
Yes.
They're people that criticize lockdowns are being arrested by the army there.
Yes.
So, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 10.
Yes, very much so. And we don't believe it'll happen in America because we believe we're so free, when we don't realize Satan is ruling all of these areas.
And they're just getting this used to the military. And I'm not against our military, but come on, folks. I'm against these orders. I mean, this is evil.
Yes, you have the right to stand against a tyrannical order that goes against the freedoms that you have sworn an oath to uphold. As a military...
And look at the intimidation here. They literally intimidate this guy.
Yes. And just to be very clear, a large percentage of military workers are not with this. They don't agree.
I agree. No, that's true.
Same thing with medical professionals. A large amount of medical professionals...
Yeah, we're not blaming the individual military, but the order is illegal.
It is illegal, definitely. No, that's the point, and they have to recognize that. They have to stand up and look at it and say, I have the right to refuse an order that...
Well, notice they abuse the military and the medical workers and make them take it first.
Yes.
So then they abuse us. It's like child molesters abuse kids and they make them recruiters.
Yes, and interestingly enough, remember, this is one of the only shots in history that was not made mandatory for the military. This was made optional. When every shot, to my knowledge, in the history of shots and vaccinations, military was primarily number one to take it, and they had to do it mandatory. Now, this one was not made mandatory.
And that's a great point. Why do you think that is?
Well, one, they're government property, and I thought about it, said, well, maybe they don't want to damage government property. And because they know it's experimental, they can't run the risk of manipulating their soldiers or killing their soldiers off because they need them to control the
I agree. They bit off more than exactly. They don't want them all sick up front. They're going to get them later.
Exactly.
They don't want to bite off more than they can chew.
Yes, and they're now trying to make it mandatory for the military now because they have given it to over 500,000 people, over half of the population in America. So now they're thinking, well, maybe we have enough people who took it, and now we're going to make them.
And look at Canada where they arrest preachers. So the topless bars are open, Walmart's open. If this preacher has 30 people at his church, he's arrested.
Yeah, give people strip dances, give people donuts, give people cigarettes, fried chicken, and lobster dinners. All the things that will add to the destroying of your health, but tell a person who is speaking on behalf of God that he's wrong. This is the end times that we're living in, but it is, again, the time where God is coming in, and this is the time where the people must stand up.
Well, you really empower me, and I can't wait to read your book. I saw the clip of you, and I knew about your work, and I saw you in the This Info Dozen, which I'm jealous that you're in that. I'm not in that. Message to Millennials, Bro, Riza Islam. Thank you so much. We've got a minute and a half left here. Any other closing comments?
Yes. Again, one, I'm truly honored. Islam's
our guest.
All right, that's it for tonight.